this is the next juxtaposition I want to make is that people don't understand that Louis Armstrong, at essence, played by ear. He played by ear. And so, and playing by ear means that you're not reading music. So you have improvisation. So reading music is wonderful. I can read music and it does something for you. It allows you to communicate exactly how you want to communicate. But like all things that's structured, it's limiting, right?
Right.
So if I'm reading a script and I feel like I can only do a certain thing with my voice inflection, I can put a pause here and there. But the great thing about improvisation is that you have a perimeter to improvise within, but you can play whatever you want. But if it doesn't work, people are going to talk bad about you. And, and,
Right.
and so I could really say that like that freedom and within the rules. And then like I remember talking to a cat who was breaking, and man, I wanted to break so bad when I was young, but I could just strut. That's all I could do.
Yeah, there you go.
What year? What year was that?
83, 84,
Okay, nice.
right? So
Yeah.
I was like 10 or 11, we were back and forth into the Bay Area from South. And I remember I was talking to this cat down at Fisherman's Wharf, man. And I was like, when you guys practice, will you plan all your moves out? But he said, absolutely not. I do what I feel like doing when I do it. And
Right.
and then I remember, when you first take it from the head, you play a solo, and someone says, "Oh, are you really planning this?" Like, and I really felt that's when I really understood what he said. Because no, I'm doing what I'm doing when I do it within the confines of that constraints of the bar structure. And so there's so many parallels to hip hop, especially early hip hop and to jazz music, and that it always blew my mind that like I seen the parallels as a kid. Right, I started playing music in elementary school, right, and I played all the way up until I probably stopped playing in my 20s and started just producing music in my late 20s, right? And so I seen that as a kid. I thought it was the exact same thing. I literally thought it was the same language with just spoken with a different accent. Because when I go down south, in Texas, my family speaks a certain way. Then I come up here, my family speaks a little differently. My family from Mississippi speaks a little differently. That's what I thought jazz and hip hop was. It's just the same thing with a different accent on it and different regional flavor on it. But it is a great difference in them, but just the idea of that improvisational aspect of it. And also, the biggest thing that I learned about it was it's hard, especially in the early days, to be crappy and get props. I mean, the proof is in the fudge. Like, so, and this is what I mean. If you play good dance from any era, but particularly hip hop dancing, particularly strutting. I mean, when you see the old G Cholo strutting and pop locking,
Oh
right?
yeah.
And
Oh
you
yeah.
look at that, even if you don't know what it is, you're like, wait, 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 wait. That's good. And
Yeah.
it was the same thing in jazz because those people didn't know how to play music, but they were like, no, 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 that's good. That's good. You had to have the skills. And that's why you have KRS-One, who's making music literally almost my entire life now, and still had an
Right.
album that came out rocking. And you have jazz musicians with that longevity. Also, I mean, Branford Marsalis, Wynton Marsalis, been playing music almost my whole life. It seems like because you have to be good to do it, and
Right.
that's the biggest thing. Is I think that especially growing up, it was a meritocracy, and it wasn't a lot of nepotism. Nobody cared
Right.
whose cousin. It was what
Yeah.
could you do, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So before we bring Charlie up again, let's watch that clip of Chaz Boseman playing James Brown in and talking to Clyde Stubblefield and Maceo Parker. Let's watch that clip real quick. And rest in peace to James Brown. Rest in peace to Chadwick Boseman.
Oh yeah.
It is.
What's this here? Snare, Mr. Brown. A snare what? Drum. Correct. What's this? Guitar. No, it's not. Pee Wee, what's this? Drum, Mr. Brown. Now we getting it. What's Maceo hold? Drum, Mr. Brown. Fellas, what's them shiny things y'all holding over there? Drums. Now we all when you're playing the drum, it don't matter what key you in, what bar you in, what planet you on. Mr. Brown, Clyde will be in a different time than the rest of the family. That's work easy. Look here, records you got, son. Huh? Does it sound good? Yeah. Does it feel good? Yeah. God made your ears. You didn't make them. You gonna argue with God's ears? If it sounds good and it feel good, then it's musical. So play it like I say, play it. From the top. 1, 2, 1, 2, hit it!
Keep it going. All right. That's it. Yeah, we just wanted to capture that moment, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And introducing to the panel, if he's coming in, Struggle Streaming at its finest. Wait, let's get a take from Grover first before we get to Charlie.
Well, I mean, that's probably the truest thing, and especially it's the truest thing that you could say, because I could take a quote from John Coltrane, where John Coltrane said, I'm not so interested that people even understand what I'm doing. I'm interested that they feel what I'm doing. I'm interested that they feel me, because no one can understand what you go through to learn how to play music, to learn how to produce music, to learn how to dance like you dance. I mean, first of all, I can show empathy, which is an amazing human power, and say, man, he must have went through a lot to do it. However, I don't know for sure. But what I do know is how it made me feel when I seen it, how it made me feel when I heard it, and how it makes me feel when other people see it and hear it around me. And that's what James Brown was saying there. And it's universal in jazz and funk and hip hop. I mean, the biggest thing that I could be a snob and say, a lot of this music just don't do it right. A lot of this music, they're playing this wrong or that wrong, or maybe this is wrong, or they should have did this. But the bottom line is, do people feel it? And if people feel it, then that means that I'm in the minority and I could be wrong, not them.
Right.